This is my Honesty HUD for PokerTracker 4, and it's going to help you make more successful steals because it answers the question, what street are they honest on? Now, we'll get to some stealing strategies and example hands in just a little bit. First, I want to talk about the HUD itself, the layout, and the statistics. I created this HUD by taking the default HUD in PokerTracker 4 and editing it to feature C-bet and fold to C-bet by street. So if we look at the layout, note editor, number of hands, VPIP, PFR, and 3-bet, the most important statistics to tell you what kind of player you're up against, the player name as well. Now we got flop, turn, and river, just some text right here to differentiate the different columns. Now we have C-bet, flop, and turn, and then fold versus C-bet on flop and turn as well. For the river, not many players get to the river C-betting flop and turn with the opportunity to C-bet the river. Same thing when facing C-bets. Their opponents aren't double and then triple barreling all that often. So the C-bet percentages, if you have 1,000, 2,000 hands on a player, they can be pretty useful. But when you only have maybe 92 hands on a player, just river bet and then river fold versus bet, so much better, more useful. Now, when it comes to the pop-up, if you click any of these statistics, the positional pop-up shows. If you click any of the other statistics, now this is the default pop-ups, maybe something that you're used to seeing already. So using this HUD, you have all the statistics you already know how to use. Let's open up the positional pop-up. You can see up top here, these are the total numbers. We have C-bet, and then fold to C-bet, and then AF. Now, aggression factor is the ratio of bets and raises to checks and calls. The higher that number is, the more aggressive they are on a given street. Below this, in position C-bet, in position fold to C-bet by street, out of position C-bet, out of position fold to C-bet by street. And then right here, we've got bet, and then fold versus bet by street as well. And we'll get to some examples of using these numbers to make some good decisions in just a moment. So let's talk about some stealing strategies you can use with this HUD. First off, if somebody is betting infrequently, that's generally an honest indicator. They only bet with a decent made hand, maybe the best draws. The idea here is when you find honesty when it comes to betting, you want to bet when they check because their check means weakness. You want to try to steal the pot at that time. And then also believe their bets. They never bet on the turn, but they're coming out with a 3/4 pot bet. Believe that they got the goods. Now, you want to think about which street they're honest on when betting. So you're looking for a decrease in betting. That's why you see over here from high to low tells you a bit more honesty. Let's look at this player specifically. 61 to 52 C betting from flop to turn. That's a decrease. It's not that big of a decrease, but it shows that they're a little bit more honest on the turn. But take a look at this. If we go into the pop-up, we see in position C bet 73 to 29. Super turn honest C-better. So against this player, like we said, bet when they check. Well, when they bet on the flop, because they're C-betting all the time, you have to call to see what they do on the turn. On the turn, as soon as they check, you bet and steal the pot. So if they're folding a lot, that's honesty as well on that street. And when you find that, you have to bluff them. And you also want to beware when they call or when they raise you on their honest street. Let's take a look at the same person. Fold to C-bet 48 to 58. That's an indicator that they're more honest. They're very honest on that river. 71% folding versus general bets. But let's take a look right here when it comes to fold to C-bet. When they are in position, they don't like to fold. They're folding only 40%, so they want to stick around. They want to see what you do on the turn. But when you barrel the turn, they're folding 67%, 4 out of 6, as you can see right there. Very turn-honest player against villain 7 right here. If you're going to bluff the flop, you have to follow through with the turn bluff as well, because this is their honest street. So which street they're honest on, you want to look for that increase in folding, like I already mentioned. Exploit their honest street, whatever that is, and you got to practice this over and over, and that's what the Honesty HUD is going to help you do. You're going to spot which streets they're honest on using the HUD, using the pop-up as well, and then you're going to put yourself in this position to bluff them on that street. Lots of hands are unnecessary because you can still exploit tendencies and extremes. Let's look at this player right here. We only have 92 hands on him, but his folding to C-bet is quite an extreme. It goes from low on the flop at 25% to a high of 100%. Now you might say, Sky, that's only 1 out of 4. That's not enough to know anything. And hey, 100%, that's 1 out of 1. That's also not enough to know anything. But here's the thing. Your bluffs have to start somewhere. You can't always have 2,000, 1,000 hands on a player. And if you're a tournament player, you often don't have that, right? Exploit at the extremes and look for that general tendency. The last thing, use the pop-up for relative position reads. As we've already done, as we saw with this player, he's way more honest in position on the turn versus C-bets. This is going to help you out, especially when you're kind of, 48 to 58, that's not that big of an increase. It's a little increase, but when you could see positionally, it's an even bigger increase, so much more likely your steal is going to work. All right, so let's see these strategies in action using the Honesty HUD. Open raise, we get a caller in position, everyone else folds, heads up to the flop, flop in the flush draw, plus the gut shot. Now, when you have equity in the hand with any kind of draws, that helps you pull the trigger on your bluffs a little bit more frequently because they don't have to fold. You could still hit a nice hand on the next street. And as we saw, when he's in position, definitely folding 40 up to 67. If we're gonna bluff flop, we have to bluff turn on this player. If we fail to double barrel bluff a player like this, we just screwed up. We shouldn't have made that first bluff on the flop. So we bluff the flop. He decides to call. We go 7 big blinds, about half pot or so, and then he elects to fold right there. Boom, we utilize what we knew about this player using the Honesty HUD to get him to fold. Next hand here, 9-7 suited, we open raise on the button. We get a call and then a fold. Okay, heads up, we're in position this time. Let's look at this player. Fold to C-bet, 43 to 71, super honest right here on the turn, right? So once again, if we're gonna barrel bluff this player, or if we're gonna bluff this player, we know we need to barrel bluff. 10-10-3, hard to hit board. Now I made it small right here. I often do this when I know it's going to take 2 barrels. Let's see his out of position. It goes from 40 to even 80. He's definitely turn honest. I already know I have to barrel, so I make it small so that my turn bet, it's a little bit less costly to get him to fold. He calls. The deuce comes. Doesn't help me. Probably doesn't help him. Boom. I go 7 big blinds. You can see we went from less than half pot to a little bit over half pot, sending the message that we got the goods, and then boom, he folded. Nice hand. King 10 off right here. We raise, fold. We're in position on the flop now. Let's take a look at this player. 49 and then 9. He does not like to fold the turn. Because he doesn't fold the turn, we should only barrel for value. 5-9-4, he's willing to fold 49% of the time. When he's out of position right here, it's actually a little bit higher, 53. Great, we have to bluff this player with a 2 over cards, backdoor straight draw. He checks, we bluff the flop, and he calls. We expected him to fold, right? So on this 7 that doesn't help us at all, we should probably check behind because he doesn't like folding. He checks, we bet, don't like this bet. He raises us. Now we realize, oh crap, maybe I didn't use the HUD at the time. Maybe I just made a mistake. Maybe I just wasn't thinking. Maybe I just wanted to barrel to try to get him off the hand. Look at that short stack right there. Yeah. Terrible barrel, but you could see I could have avoided that barrel had I paid attention to the stats a little bit more and realized that when he calls on this board, he likes it. The turn card connects with the board he already likes. I should not have barreled. The next hand, King Jack suited, cutoff opens, couple of folds, we defend out of the big blind. 9, Queen, Queen. Hard to hit board right here. We got some backup equity, right? A gut shot, backdoor flush draw on a paired board. A little bit scary right here. Now, look at this player. He c-bets the flop 100%, 6 out of 6. It's an extreme number, right? Check, and then he c-bets. I think this is a great opportunity on this board to check raise. We make it 8, and then he folds. Next hand, open raise in the cutoff. A button caller, a fold, and then I elect to call pocket 9s out of the big blind. Flop comes 3, deuce, 6. I check, and he bets 1.5. Now, think about that bet size. It screams weakness. A player like this, 31-21, if he had just any overpair, pocket kings, guaranteed he's going to be making a bigger half pot. He wants value, players like this. This feels like an absolute bluff. If we take a look at his c-bet right here, he c-bets 67%, 28 out of 42 opportunities. He's got loads of bluffs in his range. There's a good chance he's got ace high, king high, queen high, jack high, 10 high hands right here. He folds, I get to make the value raise. Now, I am making this value raise because I'm not just going to call and let him set his own price to catch the ace, king, queen, jack, or 10 to beat my overpair right now. I make this raise. If he chooses to call, so be it. If he has ace 10 and an ace comes up, he's got me beat. Oh well, at least I'm doing my job to check raise to get value out of this player who's bluffing but likely has some equity against me. And here's the thing. If he does have ace 10, he's only got 29 big blinds behind. I made it 12. If he shoves, I'm going to call and I'm ahead of all of his overcard hands. But he ends up folding, winning us the pot. We had a fold. We got queen 7 suited, small blind, open raises. We elect to call, defend out of the big blind with position against this player. Now take a look at this. On the flop, 91% c-bet to 43% on the turn. Super turn honest player. Let's see what this is from out of position. Okay, 75 to 33. Huge drop once again from out of position. So my plan probably right now, before that flop hits, I'm going to call a flop bet and then bet as soon as he checks turn. Oh, we flop a flush draw. Nice. He bets one big blind. So like I was saying, that was my plan to call flop and then bluff turn. But he is showing so much weakness right now. In a spot when he bluffs a lot, I might as well just stick it to him right now. Let's try to end the hand, try to steal the pot without having to hit a flush or a pair of queens on the turn. And it works. We took the hand down. Next hand. Pocket sevens, couple of folds. Small blind raises. I call out of the big blind. 10, 10, 8. He bets half pot. Now, in this instance, this player c-bets 75% of the time. When he's out of position, it's 74 and then 73% on the turn. This guy is a double barreler for sure. Double barrel bluffer quite often. But I do have some showdown value, so I elect to just call right here. Now, the king of hearts comes. This guy, like we said, loves to double barrel, but that's an overcard plus 3 hearts. It really looks like he doesn't like it right here. I have a hand with a little bit of showdown value, but what I would much prefer doing is just betting for myself and to get all of his hands with any kind of equity. He could fold a 9 of hearts or a jack of hearts right now. He could potentially even fold an ace, a queen, a jack that could hit something on the turn. I don't want to check behind, let him see it for free. And that also shows weakness. If I check behind, he's just going to bet river with any kind of bluff. And then boom, I probably have to fold. So I bet, take it down, deny him any equity. Ace 3, couple of folds, small blind open raises. I have ace 3. I choose to defend. Now take a look at this. Wow, 76 to 17. Super turn honest c-better right here. And so you know the plan already. Ace 3, he bets 4. I have to make this call. I do have a little bit of showdown value with a pair. He could have a random ace high, king high hand that I'm ahead of right now. But we're just basically sticking around just to steal it from him on the turn. The jack comes and he checks. He totally gave in, followed his normal tendency, gave me such an easy spot to be bluffing. I guarantee a 58-44, super loose aggressive player, 3-betting at 16%. If he had trip jacks, he is betting for value right now. At least 8 big blinds, probably 10. Check his weakness. I decide to bet and he folds. Now, I do want to say that I think this bet was way too much. Somebody who is so turn honest, so transparent with their turn plays as the c-better, I could have easily stolen this for just 7 big blinds, maybe 8 big blinds. Not wasted, but I risked too many big blinds for this play. So pocket sevens again, short stack, min raises on the button. You can see it's a 44/5. This player hardly ever raises first in, but he loves calling and limping. So he probably has something strong right here. Could be a great Broadway hand, could be an overpair for making this play. He generally limps in. So I decide to call, have a decent hand right here. Deuce, 5, deuce, flopping an overpair. I check. He bets 2 big blinds. Now, this is the guy that c-bets the flop 90%, 9 out of 10. Now, you might say, holy cow, he's bluffing all the time. Not necessarily. Because he raises so infrequently, he has a very tight, strong range on the flop, so it makes sense that he's c-betting a ton. But I do have some equity against him, so I decide to call at this point. And then look, he's also very turn honest right here. Once again, we can exploit that. Check. And then he decides to bet 3/4 pot right now. And then, so what do I do? What do you think I should do at this point? He's honest on the turn, 0 out of 4. He's making it 3/4 pot now. Yeah, I should fold. So you can exploit your opponent's statistics by bluffing and stealing pots and raising for value in certain instances, but other times, a fold is an exploitative play. I could absolutely call, especially against a lot of other players with tighter ranges or who c-bet and barrel much more frequently than this player does. But right now, all the indicators are that I'm beat, so I fold. Final hand, king, queen off right here. Open raise from a 26-17 player, and I decide to defend out of the big blind. Jack, 10, deuce. Open-ended straight draw. Third nut flush draw, 2 overcards. I'm not going to be giving up on this pot very easily. Unless he shoves on me, sure, I'll give up right now. Check, and then he bets, and I decide to call. Let's take a look at his in-position c-bet statistics. We only have 82 hands on the player, but he is, well, first as a total, he c-bets 50% and then 0% on the turn, 0 out of 3. Very a turn-honest player. So the plan right now is to check call and then bet the river if he checks on the turn. And then look at this. Generally on the river, look how honest he is. He's betting only 14%, but he's folding 80%. Wow, the river is a great spot to be bluffing this player, assuming I don't hit a hand on the turn. Drat, I don't hit a hand on the turn. I check. He checks behind. Awesome. He's falling into my trap. The 5 comes. Doesn't really change anything, right? So of course, I make a bet and then he folds. Once again, I love the fact that I made this bet, but I think I made it a little too big. He is super turn honest, or river honest. A player like this, 26-17, pretty aggressive. If he had trip jacks on that wet board, he would have bet. At a minimum, he would have bet right now. And if I had called, if that river comes and it pairs the board, I'm sorry, if it's a heart and he's scared of that, he's going to hope I check and he could just check behind. He has all the reason in the world to bet on this jack. He doesn't have a jack when he checks. Easy bluff. I could have made it 8 right here to take this one down. And now it's time for your action step. So first off, please like the video if you like the video, leave a comment as well, and then download this HUD absolutely for free. Go to smartpokerstudy.com/honesty HUD or click the link in the description down below. Import it into PokerTracker 4, assign it to a table, and use it to start stealing more pots post-flop on their honest street. Have fun, and I'll catch you in the next one.